Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Drew.
Welcome to our first ever bonus episode. This is for subscribers only. We appreciate your subscriptions, and I'm excited for this. This is my girlfriend, Sarah, if anyone hadn't figured that out yet. We had her on a couple weeks ago, and it was... He asked me what my favorite episode was, and I didn't say that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really goes to show you.
It was my favorite episode, though.
I think the response to it's been pretty good.
Yeah. Mostly.
Yeah. With
Just-
the exception of...
Just don't read the comments.
yeah. I do have a corrections corner for that episode. Loretta Chast. So the episode that we did, we talked about the Jefferson Davis 8. Apparently, it's a very sore subject for that town, which is understandable.
Yeah, understandably.
But I said something about Loretta Chasson being found by a policeman. That is not true. I didn't. Y'all gotta understand. I had less than 24 hours to prepare, so some of my research was a little flawed. Mm-hmm. But she was actually found by a fisherman.
Yeah.
And there was also comments saying that they weren't confidential informants, which I don't know what's hearsay or what is true, but so that may or may not be true.
Yeah.
But my thoughts and condolences go out to all the victims and their families.
Yeah.
I still think it's important to tell those kind of stories.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand also that, I should have researched better, so my apologies for that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was cool. The cool part was I actually reached out to a couple of the people that were commenting, mainly the ones that, were like, hey, I live here, or I know, or related, or whatever, and which I appreciate everyone who even had a conversation with me that I reached out to, because I think for me it helped make it more
humanizing,
and I could understand
their side
where
of
they
it.
were coming from, and I think it's such a sore subject just because it hasn't been solved, and there's so many different rumors and stuff that you hear, and whether, and some of them are even saying that some of the stuff in the documentaries that have been done aren't accurate, and so I think it's just probably really frustrating, especially for family members and people really close to anybody involved.
No, I think the people with the negative comments, I don't think they were necessarily related, but I think they were just members of that community who, they take this case to heart. This was people that they knew and probably have known all their lives,
Right.
So I get it. I understand. My apologies again, but I think we tried to do the best we could about telling their story and humanizing it, and so.
Well, I think that's the cool part about what the podcast is starting to turn into. Seems more true crime. Yeah. Which is great for us. That's what we love. Yeah. But it's cool for me to be able to have those conversations with people. Absolutely. And learn more. Stuff that I wouldn't have learned if trying to research. Right. So, but today is our first bonus episode. Again, this is just for our subscribers. So we wanted to step outside of the Louisiana bubble. Yeah. And kind of do we want to stay true crime, but we want to also, explore some different stuff. And I remember when I came to you, I was like, hey, I want you to do the first one. And I asked you to pick a case or something. And so which one did you pick?
Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. He was a contract killer. Although I've also read some discourse online about people have questioned his connections to the mafia. So again, I can't say whether or not it is true, but that's what at least he was labeled as, was a mafia contract killer. And he did a series of interviews with HBO. The first one is just like him being interviewed by, I guess, a producer or something of that nature, just kind of telling his story. And then he sits down for a second time and kind of goes more into it. And then the third one is him and a psychiatrist that they allowed in the prison. And he kind of asks him questions and gives some insight into what his possible like motivations were and the diagnoses he
gives him a diagnosis.
Yeah. But I wanted to pick something where this is an older case and it wasn't so fresh in people's minds. And not to say that we glorify serial killers, but I think he is a very interesting human. Mm-hmm. And while I won't say that he was a good person, he certainly is interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I think because we watched the one where he was being interviewed by the psychiatrist, which I think is the best one.
Yeah, me too.
Because the psychiatrist is kind of walking him through. He's walking him through some of the murders, but he'll jump back and forth from like childhood, and right. I think for him, it may have been the first time that someone ever kind of not made sense, but connected dots that he had never connected. You know why he turned out the way he did.
Right, and at least according to this documentary, again, I haven't like fact checked any of this stuff, so don't come at me in the comments.
Disclaimer.
But, yeah. He said that his father was extremely abusive.
Mm-hmm. I think he was alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what year he was born. I can't recall. But they interviewed him in the 90s, and he was like, he looked to be in about his 50s, maybe 60s.
Is he still alive?
No.
Okay.
He's passed on since then. His dad was extremely abusive. And to me, it seems, again, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it seems like that's the abusive childhood is where he kind of learned to turn his emotions on and off,
mm-hmm.
you know, and violence became an everyday part of his life, you know.
His mom, too.
His mom was also abusive, and I think she just didn't really stop his dad or anything like that, you know. So violence was an everyday part of his life. I don't think his parents paid much attention to him other than, you know, the anger and the abuse. So like he talks about in his childhood, he starts being cruel to animals.
Mm-hmm.
Which we all know.
That's a telltale sign of a serial killer. Yeah, that's
one of the what they call the serial killer trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
Cruelty to animals, bedwetting, and arson are like the three if they are present. And also what I've heard also is head trauma.
I wonder what bedwetting, like how that...
I don't know.
Yeah, that's... We'll have to
I don't know, but yeah. But, you know, he describes I think he was trying to figure out, and I'm not saying this condoning violence on animals, it's not that, but I think he was trying to figure out to see if something would, like, raise an emotion in him.
Yeah, he talked about that.
You know, but he tells the psychiatrist, like, I didn't feel anything one way or the other, you know. But it's weird to say that because when he talks about his family, like his wife and his children, mm-hmm. he gets visibly upset, you know, that he hurt them and, you know, that he lied to them for all these years. Because if you haven't seen the documentary, like his wife and his children knew nothing about what he did for a living. They suspected nothing. He said,
I think his wife suspected
I think
something.
she suspected that
She was scared to say it.
He did anything. I'm sure she knew he did something like illegal.
Yeah.
And that he might have been involved with like mafia, but I don't know. I don't think she knew the extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, but when you see him talk about his family, it almost got me choked up a little bit because, like,
yeah,
you don't see him have any remorse for the murders that he committed. He doesn't feel that type of remorse or fear,
mm-hmm.
but he does feel remorse for his wife and his children.
Yeah,
you know, for hurting them and not being who they wanted him to be, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's because I noticed that too while we were watching it, and I think for him it's a lot of his childhood,
right?
And I can understand it. I think especially like now, mm-hmm. like and having raised some children, mm-hmm. I don't like you don't realize how you just kind of automatically fall into that. Kind of how you were raised, you know, yeah. Whatever, good or bad.
Right.
And I think that's what it was for him, because I think his wife and his kids, to him, were like a chance to correct the path that his family had been in.
Right. And they were the first people. He says it multiple times in the documentary, like his wife, she was the only one I trusted, mm-hmm. like in my life. Like she was the only one I trusted. So yeah. I think like this was his first experience of love.
Yeah.
You know, was his wife and his children. Because, I mean, the children don't know, you know, what he does for a living. They just know that he provided for them and, mm-hmm. you know.
And apparently he was there. Like, like that, he would, the only time he left his house was to go murder somebody for, you know, the mafia. And it's a crazy, and he reminded me of BTK a lot, in the sense of, I don't think BTK was as like involved with his family and like had that compassion thing, mm-hmm. but the ability to do what he was, lead the double life so well, mm-hmm. and keep it separate, you know, like.
But I think that was on purpose too.
Right.
He did that on purpose.
But it always it's crazy to me how someone could do that or be able to do that.
Right.
Know?
And he says it in the documentary too. Like, I didn't let anybody come to the house. Yeah. Like, nothing touched the house it was a completely separate thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't bring anybody there. I didn't.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about because I saw the comments and some stuff online about people trying to discredit that he was involved with the mafia?
I mean, to me, it's neither here nor there. I think for sure he is a murderer. Mm-hmm. I mean, who he worked for, I think who he's involved with is... I think it's not a factor.
I believe that part. I believe he was a mafia hitman, yeah. and it's only because the people he was killing, mm-hmm. you know, sometimes some killings were random,
yeah.
But a lot of the hits he was carrying out were mafia members,
associates,
and some like high ranking mafia.
Yeah,
yeah, and you don't just do that
freely,
right?
Yeah, you can't just hit a mafia boss and like it'd be gravy. Yeah. You have to have order. It comes from someone.
Well, in the amount of because his family, he had not like a super rich neighborhood, but he was in like a upper middle class, like a really nice neighborhood. He provided, you know, for his family very well, and so it's hard to believe that. Because he also talks about like how much he was charging for these hits, you know, and it that part lines up,
right?
You know,
and I mean, I don't think it matters who he was involved with. I think it was definitely a contract killer. Maybe it wasn't to the extent that he claims. Maybe he's kind of inflating that just to me. Parts of the documentary, while he doesn't have remorse, he does feel kind of like disgust for some of the things that he says. Yeah. Like, I can't believe I did that, but I don't think in the moment when he's committing these crimes that he felt that. You know what I mean? So again, like, I don't know to what true extent he was involved with the mafia, but I definitely think he was a contract killer for sure.
Yeah. And also, have you watched the movie Iceman?
Yeah.
There's some.
What's that actor's name? Oh, he's so good in it.
He really is.
He's really underrated.
Not only that, but he looks a lot like him.
Yeah.
Like, that blew me away. But it's crazy. And I was thinking about it when we were watching it, because in the documentary, when he's talking about, like, the first guy he killed, when he was, him and I forget the mafia boss, but he basically... He had gone, he had gone to the mafia, and he saw that there was an opportunity. I think he had killed some people before, right? But he saw an opportunity to make money doing it, and so he went to the mafia. And basically, like, the first test they gave him was, they were like, all right, well, come ride with us, and they just picked a random person for him to kill. Street, yeah. And in the movie, it's a homeless guy, if you remember. Because in the movie,
don't really remember.
In the movie, he like walks up. There's like a homeless guy on the side of the road, and he's like, he has like, I think he's flying a sign, but he's kind of sitting down. And in the movie, he like goes up and sits next to him, and he just casually pulls the gun out and kills him. Right. But in the documentary, it's like just a guy walking his dog, and like kind of like a put together looking random, just random person walking their dog. Right. Yeah.
Well, who knows? But maybe they fictionalized. I'm sure they, added something for the drama part.
Yeah, of it. I think that's more dramatic than just killing this guy walking his dog. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think, at that point, whoever, I think his name was Roy DeMeo, the boss. I think they saw like his ability to just shut off his emotions and do it without question. Right. At the drop of a hat, like, showed that he was essentially valuable to their operation.
Yeah, which is what you want in a hitman, I imagine.
Yeah. But it's just so insane to me how void he is of like a conscience. Like, yeah. Other than with his family and his children, and I think that's the part of true crime that fascinates some of us is like, we're not people with these personality disorders, so we don't understand how they can, rationalize this or sit with it or process it. Maybe they don't even process it, but like, probably not, but that's the fascinating part is like, we can't even fathom the type of brain that they have,
which is what I enjoyed about that documentary, because he's sitting down with the therapist, and at the end of it, he's like, the therapist is like, the therapist is like, all right, now I want you to ask me some questions. And his first question was, what do you think's wrong with me? And he goes into multiple diagnoses and how they played together to make him
who he was.
Yeah.
And I think that the doctor says he has antisocial personality disorder. And I think paranoid, yeah. Personality disorder.
That's why he would kill, because he was known for like he would work with other hitmen, the ice cream guy. Yeah. And there was a couple other ones too. And then even like business associates, he would work with these people, whether it was doing the hits or just regular business stuff, because he had like a porno film like reproduction.
Yeah, he was doing all kinds of, outside
something with
businesses.
films, yeah. But he would get to a point where he would kill these people.
Yeah, I think he used them.
He got paranoid and he thought maybe they would say something or knew something and would kill him.
And then they, towards the end of when the police are like on to him, and apparently there was like an undercover ATF agent who like tried to get him on tape.
He got him on tape.
But I feel...
Not saying specifics.
He didn't say specifics. I think he was too smart for that. And they said, we were pretty sure he was going to kill this ATF agent.
No, yeah, he was planning on it.
Because, again, he is not trusting of other people. So, like, I don't know. He talks to him casually, and
he said that's why he thought, even the ATF agent, he was like, I think the only reason he was telling me this stuff because he planned on killing me shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's weird, like, to say this, but, like, he has this sort of, and he even tells, like, the doctor and the people interviewing him, like, he has a certain charisma when he's talking about these things. And he kind of makes some jokes and stuff, and then he's like, we shouldn't be joking about this. So, like,
which is what was weird, not weird, but different, because like there's been serial killers in the past, the Green River Killer,
right?
Got these guys that have been on tape with cops or therapists or what, and they have like multiple in there. Something was different about him. Like it seemed like he was more willing to. And I think it goes back to his first question when the therapist lets him ask a question.
Yeah.
He wanted to figure out what was wrong with him.
Yeah.
Like and you could tell.
In a way, it didn't seem like he was bragging.
Right.
About some
like
parts he was.
Yeah, yeah.
Some parts he was. But I think he genuinely, he says in it, I wish I could be something different than what I was.
Yeah.
I think he had a fucked up childhood and a fucked up personality, and like I think he saw a way he was an emotionless killer. He had killed multiple people by the time, he got involved with the mafia or allegedly involved. But I think he found this as a way to get his family out of poverty, and like maybe that's why he's slightly more likable.
Yeah.
I won't say likable, but you know what I mean.
Understandable.
Yeah. Than your disgusting sexual sadist serial killers, I think he was, in his own fucked up way, like, just trying to make a life. And
yeah. Well, and he says it about every time when they're kind of like, well, when he would ask like why he did it, and his answer was always the same. It was like for his family. Like this was how I was gonna provide.
Yeah.
Which is messed up, but
he doesn't see another way out. Yeah. And like he had no education, 8th grade education, I think they said, and I don't know how you make that decision that this is what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
But I think he saw something that he was quote unquote good at.
Yeah.
And he could do things that not a lot of other people could stomach. He talks about murdering this guy, and like he doesn't want to tell the interviewer at first. Like he's like, I don't know if I should tell you this. It's kind of, I don't know what exactly he says, but it's kind of fucked up. And he's like, no, like tell us whatever. And he said that, he went to perform a hit, and like this guy, he said he was praying and like please God all over the place, and he told him he would give him 30 minutes, and if God showed up and changed the circumstances, essentially that he would let him live.
Yeah.
And he did that. Obviously, no one showed up.
You know what I was thinking in that part of the interview? I was like, imagine being that guy.
The guy.
Yeah, because I was like, a part of me was like, want to be like, if I was that guy, like, no, just go ahead and shoot me. I'm not going to sit here for 30 minutes.
No. Yeah. But I think that goes back to his childhood too. You know, he says that like his mother was super strict Catholic.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that part of the religion part of it kind of messed with him. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he still had any regrets about doing it. I think he, in a way, found it disgusting that like that was something he did. Talking about it later. Yeah. You know, I think deep down he was slightly embarrassed that, you know, he committed an act like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of, and I noticed that anytime he would talk about one of the murders that was outside of like a contract hit, because it's like, understandably, because it's, you know, you're in that world, you know, you're not doing hits on quote unquote innocent people. Yeah. You know, these are people who have done whatever they did, wrong. Some kind of debt or they did something that we wrong. Know of, supposedly. Right. In that world. So you're not killing them for not making it doesn't make it right, but you're not killing them for no reason. Right. And it's kind of part of the life that comes with that, you know, with crime. Yeah. But yeah, I noticed when he would talk about, because there was even some people, like when he shot the guy in the head with the crossbow. Mm-hmm. It was just a random guy on the side. Like you could tell when he was talking about those, like those were the ones he was embarrassed or had some kind of emotion towards. Yeah.
That he could be that cold and calculating. Mm-hmm. I think it's more in everybody's mind. It's easier to stomach someone killing someone, you know, in the mafia, like you said, like for things that they've done, perceived threats, whether, you know, whether it's real or it's not real, you know, they killed people over money and over simple, like, grudges or, you know, someone was talking to the cops or something like that. But I think that's the part of him that, like, no, he doesn't feel remorse behind it, but I think he feels a certain level of disgust that he did those things. Yeah.
And I think the more I watched, the more research I did on him, he seemed like someone who came from a really messed up childhood, coupled with these you know, mental, whatever you call it, but differences that he had. It was like the perfect storm for like a serial killer, which you hear most of the time. And but it seemed like he was trying to figure out himself, like through all of it, you know.
Well, I don't think he ever stopped to think about, you know, why he was doing what he was doing. He was just doing it. Yeah. You know, and that had become ultimately like his occupation. Yeah.
And it may have also been because, you know, I think by the time he did that interview, he had been in prison for some years.
Yeah, he's aged.
Yeah,
he's like, one is in 1991, and then it looked like 10 years or so later, you know, they interviewed him again. And, but yeah, I think he had some time to reflect on the stuff that he's done. And, I don't think his family wanted anything to do with him. They cut him off once he was in prison, you know. So he had essentially nothing but time to try to figure out, you know, why he was the way he was.
Yeah, and it was crazy because he killed people in so many different ways too. Yeah. He was doing, like, the cyanide, like, putting it on people's sandwiches. The one guy where he pretended to be gay in the club to get close to him when he, like, dressed up.
He said he was, like, 6'5" and, like, this...
like 300 pounds.
Yeah, and, like, polka dotted pants. He bought like a whole outfit. I'm laughing because it just, the mental picture in my mind looks crazy. He said he put like platform shoes on and was dancing at this club, and then bumped into a guy. He said he was having trouble getting to him because he was always like partying and stuff. So what do? You dress up and go to the club and start dancing. And then he said he hit him with a needle.
Yeah, something gave him a heart attack.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't tell whoever asked the question like what was in it, but he said in his case it was a heart attack.
Yeah.
Like, they asked him like what was in the needle, and he was like, in his case, a heart attack. You know.
Yeah, I wonder what was in the needle.
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, and like and then it was great when he got hooked up with I wish I could remember the guy's name, the ice cream.
Mr. Softy.
Mr. Softy
was the nickname.
Yeah, because he was like a war veteran, and he had like all kind. He
calls him crazy.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine what that guy was like.
Yeah, and in the movie too, because they have a good bit of him in the movie. But he was like planting bombs in cars and stuff because he was also working for the mob.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, well, what the police were speculating is like he worked with him and like kind of learned the different ways of how to kill people from him. And then when he wasn't useful to him anymore, essentially.
The paranoid kicked in.
Yeah, the paranoia kicked in and he killed him.
Yeah. And I think...
I don't know if he, like, admits it, though, in the documentary.
He doesn't?
I
don't even think they asked him.
Maybe not, but the police speculate that it was him.
Yeah. I think in the movie, he kills him in the movie.
Okay.
I think it was a little different, though. And I wanted to watch the movie again, too, after watching that, but it was late.
Yeah.
But I think in the movie, he doesn't kill him in the ice cream truck. I think he kills him, like, on a park bench or something like that. But I don't think he shoots him. I need to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I don't think he shoots him. I want
to
say in the movie he maybe like poisons him or something. But yeah, because I was trying to think of, because it's been a minute since I've seen the movie, and I was trying to see the differences in what they put in the movie and what
versus the documentary.
Yeah, because they put in the movie they have the one where he waits 30 minutes with the guy who's like praying. Yeah. They have the one where the mafia calls him because he goes to the guy's house, and the mafia guy wants to talk to the guy before he kills him
for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, but he talks to him and he makes him think like everything's good.
Yeah,
and then he gets on the phone.
Like, yeah, see, I told you everything would be fine.
And he gets on the phone with him and he's like, kill him. And that's in the movie.
It's insane.
Well, and it's great because like there's such an obsession with mafia, which I mean, rightly so, I guess. Because it's super interesting, and it was such a big part of a history and time.
Yeah.
You know, with so much crazy stuff happening. But to me, it's almost like not glorified, but the mafia gets put into this category of like, yeah, they're criminals, but it's like a family and an honor thing. And it's like, but then you start researching these dudes and they're like him, like a lot of them, like crazy serial killer people.
Yeah, with no conscience.
Who were doing really messed up stuff. They were just doing it as a group, you know, and like they even talk about him in this one, you know, the family he was working for, like the club that they hung out at was like a slaughterhouse. They had found all kind of bodies.
I think it was called like the Gemini room
Lounge.
Or Lounge, the Gemini Lounge in Jersey, in Trenton, maybe. Yeah. They like, that's where like all these mafia people would dismember and dispose of essentially these victims,
which is wild too, and it makes because because it's always interesting to me, the difference that, society or whatever views mafia, other than just versus serial killers, or because to me they're a lot alike.
Yeah,
I would even say most of these hitmen were probably serial killers.
Oh yeah,
I mean they were technically, but
Well, I wonder what the difference is. That, like, you're right. I think you're right. There's like almost like a double standard. Mm-hmm. Like we see these serial killers, like the Green River Killer, Richard Ramirez, like as disgusting and subhuman predators, versus we see these guys and we kind of see them as cunning and charismatic,
and like
almost
glorified.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because like there was money involved. It was more of like transactional as far as the murders go.
And the more I think about it, it's also these weren't, and I said it before, these weren't, these mafia people, they weren't like the Green River Killers or the serial killer who were killing children and women who had nothing to do with anything for the most part or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas the mafia, all these guys are in that life.
Yeah.
They're all doing, and this is just kind of part of it.
Right.
So I guess they get a pass on some level.
Right.
In people's minds.
Well, for the most part, we hear about these mafia guys. They did have a quote unquote honor code, like they didn't hurt women. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah. You don't hurt women, you don't hurt children.
Yeah.
But as we come to find out, like throughout this documentary, he beat his wife.
That was, I say surprising. It wasn't surprising, really. But it was kind of because he talked so much about being this family man, and then at the end, you don't hear it until
the last documentary, I think, where he finally admits it. Maybe it was just like he didn't want to admit that.
Well, that's first. Where he got the most emotion. Yeah, came from talking about that, which. But it makes sense. It kind of made some of the other stuff make sense because you got to remember this is a guy that got beat by his mom and dad his whole childhood
for no reason.
So, as much as we want to unlearn stuff that is instilled in us as a kid, I think that made him more confused when he was doing that to his wife. Because I can imagine his whole life he was like, "I'll never do this." To my kids or to my wife, and then here he is doing it.
Yeah, and another strange thing about it is Barbara, the wife, doesn't mention it at all.
Right.
She talks highly of him to a certain extent. She's like, we had the perfect life. Like, if he could be home all the time, like that's where he wanted to be. He, provided for the children, and like she doesn't say anything about that. And maybe that's part of the
trauma,
the culture back then. I think with the mafia, like they didn't talk about that kind of thing, so maybe it was, in a way, it was ingrained in her. Maybe it was out of fear, who knows, but like
but it also threw me off a little bit because in the beginning when she was talking, because she was talking about like you didn't ask if he got up from the dinner table, he got a call, and he got up from the dinner table, or if it was 2 a.m, she's like, you learn not to ask. And so it made me kind of think like, well, how'd you learn not to ask?
Yeah.
So she probably did in the beginning, and maybe that was when some of the abuse happened, and she was like, okay, well, I'm not going to ask about that anymore.
Right. Well, he even mentions like he got a call on like Christmas Eve or something. That was crazy.
Well, the craziest part about that is because it's a guy that owed him money.
Right.
And he tried to go collect the money. So at first he's trying to collect the money. I don't know that he necessarily planned on killing him right then and there, but the guy gave him some excuse and didn't give him the money. And he ends up killing him. But he shoots him while he's in the car with him. And then he it was funny to me because he was talking about, he's like, he went in his pocket and he had a big wad of money. Yeah. And he just took the $1,600 that he had owed him and put the rest back like it was some noble.
Yeah, it was a noble move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know if it was the producer interviewing him at this point or if it was the psychiatrist, but they were like, okay, well, what did you do after that? And he was like, I went home and I put together the toys for the kids.
And he was upset because he couldn't figure out how to put the wagon together.
Yeah.
Which that gives you like an insight on the two different lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
I wonder how long he was active with the mafia doing this. Like, how many do you know?
Not off the top of my head. Like, the way the documentary portrayed it sounded like it was like from the 70s to like 80s, 90s.
I think it was a good 20 years.
Well, they mentioned like 25 years at that point. Like, when the cops are starting to close in on him, he had already been doing it for 25 some odd years.
Yeah.
And, you know, they mentioned that he's starting to age, and so he started
making some mistakes.
Yeah, making mistakes. And they mentioned he killed a guy, and they say this is how he developed the nickname, the Iceman, is he froze a body for, they mentioned, like something like 2 years. So he killed someone, hid the body in a freezer for upwards of 2 years, then left it in a park or somewhere like that, you know, on a summer day, and it was found before they do the autopsy, and obviously the insides are still full of ice.
Yeah.
So he said he might have gotten the medical examiner said he might, you know, they might have been none the wiser. But then you think, if they find a body in a public place wrapped in plastic, they're going to know it was a homicide. You know what I mean? So the way he makes it sound is like, if he would have let the body thaw all the way out, maybe he wouldn't have been implicated.
Well, but the whole idea is to throw off the time of death,
right?
Which, to an extent matters. But it's still, they're still going to know it was a homicide. They're still going to, if anything, it would have thrown off, you know, say you killed somebody 2 years ago, put them in a freezer and dumped the body. Well,
the body's still going to, once it is taken out of the freezer, it's still going to decompose at a much faster rate, you know? So, it would, I don't know.
I guess to me, in my mind, I was thinking, well, maybe it's like for like a timeline kind of deal of like, oh, well, this guy was killed, you know, 2 years later than he was killed. So, but you still got to be in the area or whatever to dump the body. Like, I guess it's, I mean, it makes sense to a certain extent of like you're trying to throw them off as much as you can. But, I mean, at the end, it doesn't seem, and it didn't pay off.
No.
But,
you know, and he talks about like leaving bodies on park benches and stuff, and I don't know if they said exactly like what led up to, they don't give you an exact rundown of like what led up to him getting captured. Just that I
think it was a couple of different things.
Yeah, they just mentioned that, like, you know, they had been investigating him for some years. His name was coming up like as the last person to see some people. He
was calling people to his business. So one of the cases that led up to it, I think it was a string of things. It wasn't just one thing.
But they don't really give you a definite breakdown of what exactly happened.
Because he started like, I don't know if he placed ads for people, but people, however he did it, got people to come to that business he owned, and he would kill them. Right. You know, and...
so maybe these people were mentioning
They said he got messy at the end, and I think that makes sense. I mean, you definitely don't want to kill someone at a place that's tied to you.
Right.
And so he did that. He talked to the ATF guy. They got some of that on. You know, I don't think it was ever one for sure thing. I think it just all kind of added up to...
Yeah.
his arrest.
I don't think the way they made it sound like the ATF agent, at some point they make it seem like he spoke to him in length about murders, but I don't think he did.
They didn't play any of the video or the recording.
I think, one, he was too paranoid for that.
Yeah.
2, he's not just going to let this dude, like, he's not just going to sit there and be like, yeah, I killed this person. And he's not going to say that. So, like, no. I think that was...
It sounded good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he got much information from him.
Well, because...
More so than they made it seem.
Yeah, their whole thing was like, well, but the undercover was... He was undercover as also a hitman for the mob. And so it's like, okay, so this guy walks up and is just like, hey, I also kill people for the mafia. Yeah. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it in length and how we do it.
Yeah, I don't really... And
then when you hear some of the audio clips, he sounds like an idiot because he's like, so what do? You just chop them up? And he's like talking to the mic.
Yeah, speaking to my jacket pocket
and you don't think that he had any suspicion? What?
And none of the stuff that he said on any, like, it was more of the undercover guy asking questions, and he's just, you can kind of tell he's just like, yeah, whatever. Or like he doesn't go into detail on any of those recordings that we heard. He doesn't, I think, but I also think at that point, they were pretty locked in on.
Yeah, this was probably towards the end of them building a case.
Well, and probably what happened, and it would make most sense to me, is what happened with most people involved with the mafia. Someone knew, and someone got arrested and ratted.
Yeah.
So they probably had enough of that added with, people going missing at his business, whatever.
And I imagine they probably surveilled him to a certain extent, so it's like...
Yeah.
You can't hide forever.
I think in the movie, and this is another, I may be completely wrong, but I think I remember in the movie when they go to arrest him, because they go to arrest him at his house. He pulls into his house, and in the movie, I think he tries to commit suicide by eating one of those sandwiches with like cyanide in it.
I don't think that's
I could be remembering completely wrong, but...
I mean, I'm not saying it's not true in the movie, but I don't think...
No, that's not what happened in real life.
No.
Yeah. It would make for a good ending, though. Yeah. So it makes sense it would be in the movie.
It kind of cracked me up when they were talking about how they arrested him and he was so huge. Like, all the cops were terrified to arrest his ass. He was like 6'5", 300 pounds.
We also got a guy that's been killing people by like injecting them with needles or putting cyanide. I think in the movie he sprays cyanide on somebody like walking by him. It's like, I wouldn't want to try to arrest that guy either.
No.
Yeah. It's funny though, they show the video of him. I think it's when they get to the police station and they're taking him from the car into the station and the news camera's there and he's like, these people are
harassing me.
They're harassing me. They believe all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next shot, it's him admitting
in court, confessing.
Yeah, confessing to 5 murders.
Yeah. And I think to me it seems like at the end he was trying to maybe absolve himself a little bit. Mm-hmm. For his family. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, like him talking about his family a little bit, but like I think him confessing and like not putting them through a lengthy trial was like I think he was trying to spare his family, but then again he also confesses like in detail in court of what he's done.
Yeah.
But I think that was his attempt at trying to not repent. I don't think is the word
make
for
it right, I guess, kind of with his family.
Yeah.
I think, and I've said it a couple times, but I think what was most interesting about him is, I don't even want to call it emotion. I don't know what to call it, but it's like, it felt like he was also trying to figure out why he did the things he was doing. Like, he didn't understand it.
Right.
Which of course, doesn't make any of it right or whatever, but it's, it makes more sense to realize, like, this is a person that was born different.
Yeah.
Mentally, makeup-wise, different. He unfortunately had all the things that, as a child, that build a serial killer, and he turned into one. Mm-hmm. But for me, it seemed like a man that he was in prison. He had accepted what he did. His family had completely left him, which tore him up, and he was trying to figure out, kind of in the end, why he did the things he did.
And I think that's why I won't say I have respect for him, but like, in a way, I felt for him because I felt like he was trying to understand it. He wanted to do right by his family.
Yeah.
And I think that he, in his own fucked up way, like, tried to take accountability for it, by putting an end to it. As far as, like, not putting people through a trial and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I still think he was mentally, he was fucked up,
I think he said he killed over 100 people. He couldn't put a number on it, but
right.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they only convicted him for, I think, 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this, babe.
Thanks. I wonder how his children are.
Yeah. Well, they gotta be... He had 3 kids.
Yeah.
2 girls and a boy, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say one of the daughters wrote a book, but I could be wrong.
We'll have to look into that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.